Hello everyone, my name is Jessica, aka Animated Jess, and this is NFT Art Chat number 3 video series where I talk about all things related to art and NFTs. So without further ado, let's get started. So in this video, I will be going over how I made my third drop in my collection called Zero Origins, which you can find in the links below on OpenSea. I think there are still some left at this point, both on secondary and also some that have not been bought yet. So please check that out if you can. But most importantly, in this video, I really want to talk to you guys about why I think that artists should really get into NFTs. And we are so early, so if you're an artist, please listen up because this is a space to be. This is a place where you don't want to miss out. You don't want to be too late. So first things first, I do want to explain what NFTs are to those who have not heard of what it is or just have a vague understanding. And yes, don't worry, I also had a hard time at first understanding what they are. So if you don't understand right away, that's completely okay. Basically, NFTs stand for non-fungible tokens. And so fungibility is basically the whether or not something is interchangeable, right? And if you hear tokens, you may also think of something like blockchain technology such as Bitcoin, right? And so like you can easily exchange one Bitcoin for another, right? Like they have the same value. NFTs are different because they're more unique. You can't easily interchange them. Think of like something like baseball cards or Pokemon cards. You can't really trade one for another because they don't have the same value, right? They have like different rarities and different properties, whatever it may be. So it's the same with NFTs, and they are they do live on the blockchain, so they will have the all the properties and all the advantages of blockchain tech. So you have transparency for one, like you will be able to see who made it and what time, who owned it, and things like that. It's immutable. That means it cannot be changed, it cannot be tampered with or anything like that. So there's great advantages to NFTs. And before I get into why artists should sell NFTs, I'm going to talk a little bit about problems of the past and why digital artists have had some issues with being able to profit with their works. And so when you create digital work, it is hard to prove ownership, right? Like if you create a digital painting and you try to sell it, who's to say that you actually bought it, right? And that you really own it? You can't really do that, right? And a lot of people like to joke that like with NFTs, you can easily just right click and save as and you own the NFT, but that's not true because you can tell by the blockchain that whether or not you do own it. It's very clear, but you can't really do that with just the more traditional art, I guess. Kind of funny because now when I say traditional, I mean like just a pre-NFT art. So yeah, with the more like traditional art, you can't really tell, right? Like who owns it. You can just right click and save as, and you can't dispute ownership. So artists were kind of limited to doing like prints and just selling those or something like that, or doing commissions. So it was a little bit limiting in that way. It wasn't like the true traditional art, right? Like the physical art where you can give it out and sell it or whatever, and you can tell who really owns it. And for the really prestigious works of art, you will have people who will be able to verify the authenticity. And the really cool thing with NFTs, you don't need people like that anymore. All you have to do is be able to know how to look at the blockchain and gather information from it to know whether a work is legitimate, whether work was created by a certain individual or not. So it's really advantageous for the digital artists. So let's say that there's, popular digital artists such as Loish who made an NFT and you were to buy it, then everyone will be able to see that you are the true owner of the artwork that she produced. And there are other advantages as well. For instance, majority of NFTs are sold with cryptocurrencies that are not related to fiat currency. So, think of currencies such as Ethereum, Solana, Polkadot, though there's not NFTs on Polkadot yet, but there are some on Kusama. So those cryptocurrencies have been appreciating in value over time, right? So, you had a couple years ago, Ethereum wasn't even $1,000, and now it's over 3,000. And that trend will continue, right? It will continue growing in value. With Ethereum specifically, it is a deflationary asset because there has been an upgrade that has introduced a burn mechanic, so the supply is decreasing every day, which makes Ethereum more scarce and ultimately more valuable. So let's say that you sell, your NFT for 1 Ethereum today, which is about $3,000. In 2 years, it could be $20,000, and still 1 Ethereum. So you can, as an artist, you can grow your wealth in that way. If, of course, you don't, spend it or convert it to another currency, assuming, of course, that cryptocurrency is here to stay. Something else that's really awesome is that with platforms such as OpenSea, which is a popular NFT platform that runs on Ethereum and Polygon blockchain, is that you're able to set royalty fees. So for for every secondary purchase, right, after the initial sale, you're able to get a percentage of the money that is, being made by someone else who's reselling your work. So let's say that they sell your work for 1 Ethereum and you have a royalty fee of 10%. That means that you will receive a 0.1 Ethereum royalty profit. So that's something that is really cool, and it is generally built into the contract, so you don't even have to rely on platforms in order to get the royalties, though that is not the case with OpenSea at the moment, but hopefully that will change in the future. And you're able to do a lot of you can get really creative of how you want to drive value to your NFTs. For instance, for my project, Zero Origins, the one that you're looking at right now, one of the NFTs, what I decided to do is to create, for every drop, I basically have 2 different NFTs. So I have the animated version, and there's only one of that each drop, and then there's multiple editions of the static drop, so that's a non-animated one. And so, based on just, scarcity, the one that's animated just will, automatically have more value over the ones that are not animated. And so you're able to do, things like that, or you're able to also interact with your audience and community in new ways. For instance, a lot of projects, NFT projects, they have Discords, and they can offer, special perks to those who own their NFTs. So again, I'm going to use my project as an example. Something that I recently did is make an NFT. It's a blueprint of the robot Zero, and for those that own the blueprint, they can become something that I call story collaborators. So they will be able to participate in writing Zero's story. So, and that's again just an example, but I think NFTs have allowed artists to be able to engage with our community in new ways, and we can continue to push the boundaries, right? Like, it's the Wild West right now. We can pretty much do anything. I think that NFTs are really helping to drive innovation, and it almost sparked this, I don't know, like this newness, I guess, the freedom to create, whatever. And I really love that. I think it's really amazing. And if you're an artist, you can be a part of that too. You can be in this space, and you can be a pioneer, a trailblazer. You can be a part of history. So it's there's just so much with NFTs, and I can go on and on about that, but unfortunately I I don't want to bore you or lose anyone. And if there are specific topics that you do want to hear from me, please let me know below in the comments, or you can join my Discord. And it is focused on my NFT collection, Zero Origins, but I do also really want to make it a space for artists, especially up and coming artists, smaller artists, where we can really help each other to grow, and help each other to make it in this space. That's something that you hear a lot. WGMI, we're gonna make it. So I really want to drive that in my community, because I think that the best way that we can advance is by also helping someone who's also along the same journey. So you can come and say hi and ask me questions, learn more about the project and things like that. The link to that is below. And if you want to learn how to make your own NFTs, I do have a tutorial for beginners, which I will link at the end of this video and below as well. So please go and check it out if you are interested. And that's it. That's all that I have for today. Please let me know what you think, and let me know also if you have ever heard of NFTs before, and if you have, what was your impression when you first heard about it? Was it positive? Was it negative? Were you as confused as I was? Because it took me a few times trying to understand what this was all about, and sometimes I am still baffled by the things that I see in this space. So if you are just as confused as I was, then no, you're not alone. Alright, so that is all for today. If you have enjoyed this content, please give this a thumbs up and consider subscribing. It is a free way to support this channel. And that's it. Till next time. Bye.